It's not uncommon for you to feel like you're just not smart enough just as you scroll past a headline about some kid who just graduated college at 16 or some random person who built a revolutionary invention in their garage, and that same sick feeling creeps in. You feel behind, you feel small, then you whisper to yourself, maybe they are just gifted. They were born with that brain. I wasn't. Now, don't get me wrong, there are people around the world who are just way too talented or have an IQ too high that are just too great to match. There are prodigies younger than you that have started coding video games. But let's not ignore the fact that you haven't really reached your potential. Right now, you may feel a little guilt from how little you may be achieving, but you have to understand that you just need a mindset that will help you compete with others. Saying, oh, maybe they are just gifted, is something you tell yourself every single time you fail a test that you actually studied for, only to watch that one kid who did not study at all walk away with a perfect score. Whether it's in a classroom, your goals in life, or your job, what's holding you back was never bad luck. It was never an incapable brain. It is about your hunger for knowledge, which is also called curiosity. You look at your classmates, your peers, the people online, and you convince yourself they were just born different. They understand things instantly. They speak with confidence. They have it together while you're drowning in homework you can't even follow. So you lie there and whisper the most brutal sentence you know. I'm just not smart enough. I don't have the brain for this. Maybe I'm just stupid. It's a painful thing to admit, but it feels like the only explanation. It explains why your grades are so low, the confusion during lectures, the constant feeling of being a step behind everyone else. But the truth is, they did not start being the most competent person around. Everyone walked on this earth knowing nothing about anything they see. That number one student in your class, your friends, and even your mentors knew nothing when they were born. The difference between you and the people you call that are smarter than you is the way you learn. You aren't stupid. You just aren't curious. You were never lacking the brain to understand things. You just failed to let your curiosity feel alive. Every single day, you're closing tiny doors to learning without even noticing. You aren't failing because you're dumb. You're failing because you stopped caring about how the world actually works. If you open yourself to new experiences or knowledge every day, then you will be significantly different in a year. Even if you just learn one thing every day, by the end of the year, you would understand 365 more things than you did last year. But right now, it feels like you're just stuck. You rebrand your lack of understanding as something you can't change instead of admitting you could actually fix it. You tell yourself that you were made different, when in reality, you just stopped trying. And to escape the pressure of comparing yourself to everyone else, you retreat to the easiest, most numbing place you can find. You load up a game for 5 hours straight. You open your phone and disappear into an infinite scroll. You let the screen swallow you whole. And in that moment, the insecurity goes quiet. You don't have to think about your grades. You don't have to compare yourself to anyone. You don't have to face the fact that you have been standing completely still while everyone else moves forward. But the second you put away your phone, the disappointing reality hits you again. Every time you become conscious of your life, the pieces of regret are there to ambush you. The silence of your room comes rushing back in. And so does the exact same guilt. You realize you just spent your entire afternoon running from reality, trading your future for a few hours of comfort. This is the loop, and it's the reason you're stuck. You've trained your brain to give zero efforts. The moment something requires you to think, to struggle, to sit with a concept that doesn't click instantly, you bail. You swipe away, you close the book. You decide it's too hard and crawl back to what's easy. You are actively choosing to stay exactly where you are, all while complaining that everyone else is somehow leaving you behind. Here's how this actually happens. Day after day, it's never one massive decision that wrecks you. It's hundreds of tiny ones you make without even thinking. Picture this. You're scrolling your feed and somewhere between the memes and the entertainment, an educational video pops up. Maybe it's a physics concept broken down in 60 seconds. A piece of history you never knew. A quick trick for a math problem that's been eluding you all semester. What do? You skip it. Instantly. Your thumb is already flicking upwards before the video even loads. You don't give it a fraction of a second. You think, that's boring, or I don't care about math. All gone. Every time you slam the door shut, you lose a chance to be 1% smarter than you were 5 seconds ago. And it's not just that one moment, you're actively training your algorithm to keep feeding you more of the same slop that you will forget in the next 5 minutes. That one flick of your thumb quietly guarantees you that you will see less of the stuff that could have actually made you sharper. Then you sit down to study and wonder why you can't focus. You open a textbook and the words might as well be in another language. You watch your classmates connect the dots you can't even see, and you have no idea why. It's because they kept their minds moving while you spent months conditioning yours to respond to nothing but fun and entertainment. You built an environment where learning feels like punishment instead of something worth chasing. Real learning was never about forcing yourself into some unrealistic state of focus. It's about staying open, feeding the curiosity instead of starving it. And if everything you consume all day is empty, don't be shocked when what comes out of you is empty too. You can't build a sharp, capable mind when you're standing on the door, turning away every piece of useful information that tries to walk through it. Back in high school, I was never one of the kids expected to do well in math. So going into one summer, I made a promise to myself. I was going to study ahead, quietly, on my own terms. And I want to be clear, I did not grind 8 hours a day for 3 months straight. That's not what changed things for me. What actually changed things for me was smaller than that. I stopped skipping every math reel that crossed my feed. I kept a pencil and paper near me so the second something clicked, I could actually work through it. That's it. That was the whole system. By the next year, I was one of the top scorers in my math class. Not because I was gifted, not because I suddenly got smarter overnight, but because I made learning available to myself instead of blocking it out of reflex. And that's really the whole point. It was never about being smart. I did not chase answers because I wanted an A or because I wanted to look impressive in front of anyone, even though it might drive you to perform with higher scores. I did it because I let myself stay curious. I had a question, and instead of ignoring it, I went and found the answer. A starving curiosity beats the fleeting determination that wanting higher grades could ever give you, because curiosity is something that can be used in any aspect of life. Curiosity is not a temporary feature. It becomes a permanent part of your will to survive. Sometimes my curiosity even makes it hard for me to sleep at night because I have questions I really want answers to. One time I just couldn't sleep because I wondered why some astronauts wear white suits while others wear orange. So I opened my phone to feed my hunger. Turns out, they wear orange during launch and landing to make them easier to find them in the ocean in case of disaster. And that is the type of hunger that you should aim to obtain. Because having this irresistible sense of curiosity makes you a learning machine over time. To have random questions pop into your head throughout the day is a feature you want to have. The difference is realizing that chasing the answer is the opportunity. Working for that one piece of information makes you 1% sharper than you were an hour ago. A 30-second search can lodge a concept in your brain for years. One article can make you more grounded in reality than a week of mindless scrolling ever could. Not only that, trying to learn for a few minutes will also naturally tempt you to keep learning for more. Think about how you say that you would only watch TV for 1 hour. We all know that's a lie. You forget about the time and end up staring for 3 hours. That works the same way for any learning habit. Sometimes I open a book to read 15 pages, but I end up doubling that amount. Positioning yourself to learning little by little builds momentum the same way you can't control when spending your time to scrolling your phone. This is how it actually works for the people you call geniuses. They're not locked in their rooms grinding out of pure discipline. They are curious. They want to know how the machine works, why history unfolds the way it did, how the equation on the board connects to something real. That's the entire secret. There isn't a bigger one. If you want to change how you see your own intelligence, you have to start using your curiosity again, even in the smallest ways. Next time an educational video pops up, don't skip it. Watch the whole thing. Next time you hear a word you don't recognize, open a tab and look it up right then. Next time you wonder how something works, give it 5 honest minutes before you give up. These tiny, almost invisible habits are what rebuild your mind. Your algorithm starts shifting. Your brain starts craving the challenge instead of running from it. The moment builds up, and you refuse to stop learning. And slowly, without you even noticing at first, you start showing up differently. Class stops feeling like a foreign language. You start recognizing terms, connecting ideas, finishing the teacher's sentence in your head before they even say it. And that's when it hits you. You were never stupid. You were just not curious enough. If you internalize always being curious and being determined to understanding the world around you, then you have the foundation to growing a great mind. Although other qualities such as being hardworking and being able to manage your time also greatly helps with the scope, being curious is what pushes you to work for your learnings even more. The second you finish this video, your reality is still going to be sitting there waiting for you, exactly the way you left it. You can start right now or maybe after this video. If an informative reel pops up, don't skip it right away. Try to learn and understand a new concept because it just might help you with your exams. Start paying attention to details that are visible and answerable. Your brain has been starving for years, and letting your curiosity prevail will make it hungry to learn even more. Over time, you will notice that you have stopped watching everyone else win and that you are also winning along with others. Start becoming someone who can genuinely immerse into niche topics and compete with people whom you once thought were gifted.